These are stories from people I know, and an encounter I once had. There was one I was told by a classmate back years ago from when she was in primary school, where she and her younger sister were walking to school together when the typical van came up beside them. There was a woman in it with a new dog lead in the front seat. She had the window down and said something like, "You both look like smart girls. Can you come help me look for my dog?" Her sister was immediately like, "Sure," and opened the door before she dragged her away from the van. The woman then got angry and literally demanded they get in. The woman was trying to make out that if they didn't get in, the dog would never be found and it would be their fault. Her sister started crying and my classmate thinks she saw someone crouched behind the front seats. However, a police car drove by and the woman leaned over, closed the door and drove off. I'm from a remote town, so we often had a fruit and vegetable truck that drove in once every 2 weeks on a Thursday. The driver would park in several different places for a few hours each time as a pickup point for the locals. The last stop was always at the end of my street. My mother used to get me to use this cart thing and gave me a list, some sort of money to go and get the goods. However, earlier this year, this man in his 30s and 40s moved in down the road from us. Whenever I got the fruit and veg, he'd stop and talk to me for ages. It got to the point where he'd be there every pickup day and would stop for me and talk to me for a ridiculous amount of time about things that were so boring and uninteresting. At the time I was taught I had to be polite, so I couldn't just snub him out or tell him off. He once just said to me, "We're friends, right?" Being like 10, I just said, "Yeah," even though I found him extremely annoying. A few weeks later he stopped me as usual and asked if I wanted to buy some tomatoes for free instead of buying them off the truck. I of course said yeah, and stood in his front yard where he was like, "No, they're inside." I was clueless, so I said, "Can you bring them outside?" And he just replied with, "Come inside and I'll give them to you." I went sort of towards his door and he started getting excited, like jittery, talking really loud, and he had a spring in his step which made me worried because I thought it was weird someone got this thrill about tomatoes. Also, I could smell a dampness coming off the old fabric in the yard. I didn't like it. I told him I had to go to the truck before it left and he started swearing at me, so I ran off. I told my mother later, who was literally disappointed in me for not getting free tomatoes instead of being glad that I didn't go into a stranger's house. Judo teacher. She was friends with his daughter who was the same age as her, yet she was weird as fuck. Her dad used to follow her around and pay more attention to her than his own daughter. She stopped going to their house because the dad used to try and watch her go to the toilet and wouldn't let her close the bathroom door. He always tried to touch her face and creepy stuff like that. When she told teachers, they didn't do anything. Weeks later he was arrested for having child porn, which he was then banned for the town for. The last one was from this guy who told us when he was a kid and had to hold his baby sibling in church. His sibling wouldn't stop crying, so his parents sent him outside to try and hush it. While outside, he was approached by this old woman who said she could hold the baby for him. Yet he apparently didn't like her eyes, so he didn't hand the baby over. That was when the woman tried to pull the baby out of his arms, so he started shouting and the whole church group came out, which scared her away. I'm not sure of what happened afterwards yet, these were just some of the stories I was told over the years. Alright, hello guys, it's Grace, and I just wanted to apologise for the lack of videos over the last 3 days. It has been a hell of a week. There has been so many things that I didn't want to do, like appointments and all that, and the last 3 days just have been absolute hell. Really hard, but they're done now, so hopefully I can get back to making regular videos. And I just want to say thank you for 28 subscribers. Thank you for your support in the comments too. It's lovely to see, especially in the place I'm in at the moment. So yeah, thanks and bye.